So, guys, welcome back. And I'm super sorry because just a second ago my monitor just crashed, and unfortunately, all my OBS settings are gone. So, I don't have the best overlay right now at the moment. So, I hoping you excusing me that because we from Peak DeFi and Market Peak we want to give some best quality to you. But yeah, today we want to talk about some interesting topics. Are we getting the recession? Do we already maybe have the bottom in? Nasdaq is pumping, S&P 500 is pumping, so maybe BTC pump is coming as well. We will talk all about this in this webinar. So let's get started. So what did we have last week? So if we checked last week, we see that we got the unemployment rate. And yes, you see the unemployment rate now fortunately went higher from 3.5% to 3.7%, which is a good sign because the Fed wants to do that. So the Fed wants to get a higher unemployment rate. But again, the question is about which cost, because we all know high interest rates is all times a big problem for banks as well. But this is not the topic for today. But here again, we see the first signs of a rising unemployment rate. But as well we see a non-farm employment change as well of 339,000, which is a bit strange, but overall, good news for the Fed. If we're looking on the next week, let's see what we see on the next week. The next week we get as well some interesting news. Oh, did I do the wrong? Yes, I did the wrong one. So the next week, from Monday to Sunday, the most important thing is the unemployment claims. So, because the unemployment claims is super important for us. Why? Because there we all time see if we get a maybe rising unemployment rate. And again, as I said before, the Fed wants to see that. If we're checking the CME watch tool, we see here as well that 74% predict a 0 basis point change, so that we stay at 5.25%. And all times again, remember the last times we had that, right? We saw a crash coming into the market if the tightening for credits is very high. And we have really high credits tightening, and that's why we might see a big blow off in the market. If we're checking as well the newses, let me translate that for you in English, right? We see the plans for the how to say it, for the rising debt from the US, because as we all know, the debt was rising over the limit. What did they say? They say they pause it until 2025. So for 2 years, they can add as much money as they want in their sheet, but they shouldn't increase the costs for not more than 1%, right? But this excludes, as you see here, the defense. So very interesting, but then this topic is over. If we're checking as well the unemployment rate here as well, unemployers boost hiring in May, but labor markets losing steam. And again, this is very interesting. You see that here, non-farm payrolls increases 339,000. March, April payrolls revised up by 93,000. Unemployment rate rises to 37,000. And average early earnings gain 0.3%, up 4.3% year to year, which is absolutely crazy because again, we might see another pump to the upside with the inflation, but I don't think that don't see that in the next one. I think in the next one we will fall again. But I think if we keep continuing on this level in the labor market, then I think we might see another move to the upside with the inflation. So very important. If we're checking this one, you maybe already saw that the Nasdaq made absolutely new highs, and you already know as well the Nasdaq has 500 stocks in there, right? So the biggest 500 tech companies. But this indicator shows us that only 75%, 35% making as well new highs. So from 500 stocks or companies, right, 315 companies are going lower and lower. And then 885 companies going higher. So these guys here had to see a massive explosion to the upside, right, to compensate all the losses from these people which are going to the downside, to still move the Nasdaq to the upside. And as well, we looking later to the charts, you see Nasdaq moved up very, very high and very, very quick. And if we're checking this indicator, right, you see every time normally we're on the bottom, right? Every time here we are on the bottom, we see normally as well the bottom in the markets. But the first time we saw that, right, was in the financial crisis here at 2001. If we had this one, you see we had as well the move to the downside and then the crash coming after that, right? And if we're checking as well why the market is pumping up, you maybe already saw that the S&P 500 moving to the upside, right? And if we exclude all AI companies, you see the market wouldn't move at all. So the only why the market is pumping to the upside is because AI. So AI is driving the market to the upside, which is unbelievable, right? Because again, if we're coming in 5 minutes to the charts, you see how crazy the S&P was pumping up and how crazy the Nasdaq is pumping up. But again, every time we made new highs, we saw the crash coming. So every time we've been talking about the recession, and this is a line here, that was the start of the recession, the bottom was not in. The bottom was every time in all recession coming in after we saw the recession and not before. Again, it maybe looks like right now very, very phenomenal with all the news we get, right? But I can tell you, it's a very, very difficult situation at the moment. As well as me, who's trading more than 10 years right now, or nearly 10 years, it is super, super difficult to analyze this market and as well to be profitable on a long-term rise. So to be long-term on the right side, it is super, super, super difficult. And if we're looking to the charts at the moment, right? Let me move your charts and let me check that here. So here you see my plan is still going to work like normal. Right? So it doesn't seems any different. We still have the top in here, and I still think that we don't see this move what we have here in 2018. I don't think so because everyone is predicting this move here. So I think we don't gonna see that. And that we're still gonna see this move to the downside. But as you see, it is not the same volatile like this move what we had here. And this is unfortunately because I liked it to see this one because, you know, this was so perfect. This matched so perfect, this one. As you see here, it worked perfectly, right? So I'm just waiting to see this going through as well, and that's why I'm waiting for that as well. So I'm still super, super relaxed on that, and yeah, I'm still waiting on that. We still have this little gap to the upside, but you see we still have one little gap here, but I don't think that we're gonna touch this one. We have one little gap here as well, which is at 11,000, and we closed this gap here, and as well we closed this gap here. So overall, I still think we kind of have temporarily see the top, temporarily see the bottom, Now the question is how far we go to the downside to break the bottom again, right? How long we need for that. And again, if we're checking here the dollar index, we've been talking about that as well. For 2 weeks, or last week Monday, I was saying that we maybe see the crack of this trend line here. So this trend line, and if we're gonna get the close above it, I think we're gonna come back here to 109, 108 to touching back this level. So I see the dollar index coming back to the upside and seeing much more momentum to the upside. And this is as well bearish for the crypto world. If the dollar is pumping up, then obviously people will hold back dollars in their portfolio instead of crypto, because dollars making a much more affordable profit. If we're checking this one, we see that this analysis was wrong, was not correct. I was still thinking that we're going to the downside, and the S&P, as I said before, is pumping to the upside. And normally this should be a sign of, so if we're going to do it like that, this is normally a sign where the market should not continue to the upside, because as you see, I think this is the last biggest resort. Then I think we have this fair value gap here. So if we come in close to this level here, and I still think that we might see a rise above this level then, and then we might see a push. So we still could move this one both together, and we still have this very nice level, right? Let me make it small and dark. So we see that we have this kind of cross here where the market could come down to the downside again. And again, it's not perfect, to be fair. It's not perfect because the cross was here. It's still, the question is if we come above this and gets higher and seeing the touch of this fair value gap. If we're checking Nasdaq and look at Nasdaq, how beautiful he moves to the upside, how crazy he moves to the upside. We are coming here now to this fair value gap here and this order block. So it still has possible to go to 14,800, and from there there's a possibility to go lower. But yeah, the question is if we go to this level and if we're going even to kill this highs and going for new all-time highs, because if we're going to the DAX, we see that we killed the high. But every time we did that, and I was talking about the last time that on the Monday webinar, that we see the crash coming into the market. So every time we see a new high, market is coming lower as well. And the last time we killed the high here, we went lower by 5%, 4.2%. It's not that much, but we have the next sell situation directly here. So here it is where the market could go lower as well. And if we're checking as well the Dow Jones is pumping up as well. I still think that we might break the highs here and then going lower. Coming back, why you are here? You are all here because of BTC. If we're checking BTC, you see that we perfectly matched the scenario what we had here. If we get this close above 27,000, we might see a move to the upside to this level here. So we already done that. Now we are back in this level here. What I want to see is that we have this highs here. We have this highs, and so let me call this buy side liquidity on H4. And then we have as well in the daily time frame, we have as well exactly there a fair value gap. So I think this is the place to be where the market could go lower, right? And if we get it close above this level, then I think we will go a little bit higher as well. And then the next target will be around there. So the next target will be then this one. So, and from here, I see the market down again. So, very important next week. If we coming into 27,400, it is all short scenarios and all times short places. There are no other long places over there unless we are closing above on the H4 above 27,560. If we get the close above it, then we have a highly possibility to going higher to 28,700. So be patient on that. I still think that we're going to new lows because we still have these lows open, and I still think that we're going to take out these lows and that we still have to come into this level at least, right? And if we're checking as well some liquidity levels, you will see that we have to go into these levels here. If we're checking ETH, similar situation, right? Similar situation. We still have to take out the lows here. We took out this highs. I still want to see that we take out this highs and coming into this fair value gap here, right? And that the market
Ich liebe Städtetrips. Also
is done going from here to the downside,
Stadt am besten
down again. So this is what I want to see as well, right? And so let's go to the next chart, which is BNB. BNB, as you see here, here's unfortunately what I don't like at BNB, right? We have this massive sideways market here. All right, let's go like that. We have this massive sideways market here, and normally I all times like to see a ride of the upside and then going lower, but I think we might see something like that and then lower. But again, because I'm doing really bad on this one, we have lower highs here. We have lower highs. It's completely fine. We are here in this fair value gap. That's fine as well. But I wanted to see to rate this high to go lower then. But again, we have definitely targets are this one. Definitely, we were gonna see this levels here. So this is what we're gonna definitely see, right? So the market definitely goes into this level here, and I think then, as you see, we have the upside or the downside to lower levels. And if we're looking the bigger picture, you see we went above this high here, closed it down. Now I wanted to see rating this high to go lower then. But BNB for me are going even lower, and best possibilities to place somewhere here your order to move the market here to this levels, right? And then we are here on the March lows again at 275. So very interesting level, and I think a very important level as well to watch, because as you all know, BNB Binance has still some rumors, and I mean, we still don't know if it's all true, but it's still very important to get into that. And if all the rumors of Binance are true, then I think it's the best position to position yourself on the short side. If we check ADA as well, one coin I like to look every time, we check the 4 hours chart, we see that we took all the highs. We still have this fair value gap open, which is as well directly on a VWAP. I mean, we can still delete this one. We still have this lows open here, and from there the market can go down as well. So overall, I think as well ADA could go lower as well. If we're checking now the altcoins, let me check the altcoins for you guys. So you all see this are all templates, and maybe you can hear that as well already. My cat is screaming on the balcony. She also wants to come in. If I make an analyze, maybe you don't see her. I had to switch the cameras to then you can see her. Okay, so what do we see here? We see, let me go to Quant. So Quant was, I said Quant is perfect for the shorts now. We have as well Power RR, Veracity. Okay, and let's check Veracity. We see Veracity has a possibility. We went higher, went lower. And now I think as well Veracity is in a good place to move lower. VeChain perfectly on a good spot to go even lower. If we have AVAX, AVAX is in a good pump right now. And I still think, I mean, the highest, we took out the highs, but we still have the possibility to come to this level here. So AVAX still has moved to the upside and a lot. And a lot. Until $6, $16. It's still super high. If we're looking at Matic, we see Matic perfectly touched this level here on top. Perfectly. And now it has moves to the downside. We see we have an upside trend line where the market could go even lower. We can even build a trend line from here, maybe, I think. Yeah, look at this. So we have this trend line phenomenon where the market could go even lower. And here as well, right? And then you see we are going lower from here as well. But I still think we have the possibility first to make maybe as well a new high coming into this level here and then seeing the breakout to the downside. So this is my guess for Matic. I'm going a little bit higher to 0.92 and then going lower. If we're checking Quant, I already said it, that we have the possibility first to take out here the 120 level. Here again, Quant, we reached this 98 level. We've been talking about it the whole time and we had 19.7. But perfectly, we hit this level here, what we wanted to see, right? We wanted to see the close below the 98 level and we had that. So very nice level here. And if you took the trade, I'm happy for you. If not, not a problem. There will be another possibilities. So overall, very nice week. And I think it will be a very interesting week, what we're gonna see next week. And yeah, I hope you have a great day and a great week. We're gonna hear us again next week and have a great day and bye.